What does it mean? Direct method is also known as natural method, phonetical method, anti-grammatical method. Why anti-grammatical method? Because it came after grammar translation method. Grammar translation method focused on grammar. Of course, the direct method will not focus on grammar. Not the important aspects of grammar translation method will be not the grammar. Anti-grammatical method, reform method. Reform method means we have heard the history that for a long period people, scholars, language teachers and language learners have been trying to reform language teaching methods, that is the grammar translation methods. So reforming grammar translation method, a method came in existence and the name of the method is direct method, and for this reason it is also called direct method. And reform method. Look here, several people of several shape, several height and several countries as well. Of course we don't know from which country they are. Okay, they are speaking in several languages. I go to the Methodist School of English. Oh, me either come and try. 90% is speaking. That is okay. That means direct method invites learners to speaking. Speaking. So the direct method is named direct because meaning should be connected directly with the target language. In case of grammar translation method, we have learned that in the classroom, teacher and learner can use their mother language. Direct method will not allow that. The basic and the main difference between grammar translation method and direct method is that meaning will be conveyed in the target language. It means if we want to learn French, no Bengali, that means your mother tongue will be used in the class. Not by the teachers, not by the learners. That means what you will understand, everything, that means the meaning will be conveyed in the target language. So without translation into the native language, so the concept of meaning and the target language, and there is a big cross towards the L1 indicating the mother language. No mother tongue will be used in the classroom. So the direct language, the direct method also called natural method, was established in Germany and France around 900. And it appeared as an answer to the shortcomings of the grammar translation method, as I have said earlier. And it is a method for teaching foreign language that uses the target language discarding any use of mother tongue in the classroom. Most probably at present we use Google Translate for the consultation of the dictionary. Especially me also. How many times I didn't use dictionary I have forgotten. Because Google Translate will give you the translation. English language, so many languages. Okay. But English to English dictionary, that is ASRD, Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, and that dictionary will give you the meaning of every specific words in the target language, that is English to English. Why? What is necessary? So, for the purpose of understanding a simple word, you have to go through several other words that will also increase your vocabulary. That is meaning in the target language. And so, there is no mother tongue will be used there, and no translation will be there. Actually, he is the Francois Guin, a French linguist. who was a pioneer of what is now known as a language acquisition studies and who pushed for language teaching reform. Stephen Krashen cites him as a case study in the language. So this Francois Guin initiated that direct method. So if you go to the history, who pioneered direct method, Francois Guin is one of them. Many other critics, 2 or 3 critics are there, but Francois Guin is one of the linguists who initiated direct method. Okay, ঠিক আছে, দেখেন অন্য রুমে কেউ আছে। So Stephen Krashen cites him for language. In the first half of the 19th century, French linguist Francois Guin attempted to build language learning methodology observing the child language learning. So how Francois Guin is related to direct method? In the first half of 19th century, Francois Guin said that we have to learn language, we have to teach language, observing the way children learn the language. That is where his initiation. And towards the end of the 19th century, other reformers like Guin turned their attention to naturalistic principles of language learning. So they said that yes, actually we will be reading vocabulary, we will be reading translation, we will be reading grammar. This is the platform of memorization. Guin said that we should learn language naturally, that is naturalistic principle of language learning as children do. Okay, we should follow this. And this is why most of them refer to advocate a natural method of language teaching and learning. Another, Michel de Montaigne. He is known for popularizing the essay as a literary genre. His work is noted for its merging of casual anecdotes and autobiography with intellectual insight. Montaigne had a direct influence of numerous Western writers. His massive volume of essay contains some of the most influential essays ever written. So after Francois Guin, we have got another critic. His name is Michel de Montaigne. He also initiated to reform language teaching method. So he is the second person who inspired to have a new method, that is the direct method. In fact, throughout the history of English language teaching and learning, various attempts have been made to make second language learning most like first language learning, thus I have said. And in the 16th century, for example, French philosopher Michel de Montaigne described how he has entrusted to a guardian who explained to a situation of his Latin learning at the age of 1 year. Actually, we also, when we had been learning or reading at school, our guardian, they were very much conscious that we should learn English correctly. Okay. Actually, বাবা মার থেকে গার্ডিয়ানদের সতর্কতা, উৎসাহ, আগ্রহ অনেক বেশি। And what is the cause? That means this is the cause, that grammar translation method. Grammar translation method, exact grammatical rules, exact pronunciation will be used. So Montaigne mentioned one of the guardians who was very much enthusiastic to teach his child second language following grammar translation method. So he said we should come up with that strict principle of grammatical rules and regulation. Who said? Montaigne. Quite similar incident happened to Montaigne's life, that his father wanted him to speak Latin well. So at that time there was no language. The people had been visiting the country, one country to another, for several reasons, but less number within the Europe. So within the Europe, the country, they would know about the Greek and Roman literature. তারা শুধু গ্রিক এবং রোমান লিটারেচারের কথাই জানতো। তখন এই লিটারেচার পড়ার জন্য তারা একটা ভাষার প্রতি আগ্রহ জন্মালো, সেটা হলো কি ল্যাটিন। অ্যান্ড সেই ল্যাটিন ভাষাও এত শক্তভাবে শেখানো হতো যে দেয়ার উড নট বি এনি মিস্টেক্স ইন কেস অফ গ্রামার অ্যান্ড translations. So that was, in addition, another American linguist, Lambert Sauvé. So we have got three names, Francois Guin, Monte, and Lambert Sauvé, who has 63 works in 236 publications in 3 languages and 1,429 library holdings. So many writings are there. Whom? That is Lambert Sauvé. And was investing intensive oral interaction in the target language in a way of asking question that can be termed as presenting and eliciting language. So Sauvé actually asking the question that we have to have different method. We shouldn't go to the previous grammar translation method. Lambert Sauvé opened a language school in Boston, and there in the USA in the 1860s, and his method soon referred to as the natural method. Most probably you know that this method, the direct method, is named 4 different names: reform method, phonetical method, natural method, anti-grammatical method. Okay, so Sauvé started teaching in a school in Boston, and he named this method the natural method, and that is Lambert Sauvé. And Sauvé and others believes that the natural method argued that a foreign language could be taught without translating as well as without the use of the learner's native language. So Sauvé's main motive is that the English language or the second language or the third language can be taught without translation and without grammar. That is their belief. And they started following this in his school. What is that school? That is the school in Boston. And according to them, meaning of the target language should be conveyed directly through the demonstration and action. Okay. Previously, we have said that no translation will be here. Okay. So how you will be several things are there. That means cow is a 4-footed animal, dog is a 4-footed animal, okay, elephant is a 4-footed animal, okay, but what is the difference? How we will make it clear? Elderly man and younger man, there is a difference. So in no way you will be using your native language. So what you will be that? Sauvé said that you have to demonstrate. That means physically movement. Mime, you know, that means in order to get the physical gesture, you have to, suppose if you are angry, you have to make your face in such a shape that will make you angry. If you smile, then you can show. But if you cry, আপনাকে কাঁদিয়েও দেখাতে হবে. Okay. That should be directly through demonstration and action in the direct method. And so Lambert Sauvé is one of the precursor of the direct method. Lambert Sauvé is a linguist of French origin and teacher of French of a foreign language. He is considered one of the precursors of the direct method in the USA. So we have got 3 names who are there: Francois Guin, Lambert Sauvé, and Monte. So these 3 persons initiated to reform grammar translation method, though in different ways, okay? And they are the precursor of this method, that is the direct method. Sauvé and the other believes the natural method argued a foreign language could be taught without translation and the use of the learner's native language if meaning was conveyed directly through the demonstration and action. So that would be the helpful. This is their concern. So the direct method is a teaching a language is directly establishing an immediate and audio visual. So whenever you will be attending a class in direct method, you can hear and you can also see. That means images will be there in order to convey the meaning in the target language. Okay, so images will be there. So in a class, that means audio visual, always you will be hearing in the target language সব সময় আপনি যে কথাটা শুনছেন সেটা টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে শুনছেন, যা কিছু আপনি দেখছেন মুভি বা ইমেজ সব কিছু টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে দেখছেন। সো উইথ দ্য হেল্প অফ দ্য অডিওলিঙ্গুয়াল অ্যাসপেক্টস দ্য টিচার উইল বি টিচিং ইউ আ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ দ্যাট ইজ direct method. And phrases, idioms, meaning, rules and performance through the teacher's body and mental skill without any help of the learner's mother tongue. In no way you will be using mother tongue in the classroom. So German scholar another F. Frank, he also initiated the direct methods. So initiated this Frank that initiated some principles of direct method. What are the principles? He said that the psychological principles of the direct method association between forms and meaning in the target language provided a theoretical justification for the monolingual approach to language teaching. Monolingual, that means in the classroom one language will be used. That is called mono. Mono means single. একটা ভাষা ব্যবহৃত হবে। গ্রামার ট্রান্সলেশনের মেথডে দুটো ভাষা ব্যবহৃত হচ্ছে। আপনি ফ্রেঞ্চ শেখেন, স্প্যানিশ শেখেন আর হাঙ্গেরিয়ান শেখেন, বাংলা ভাষা এখানে বোঝানো হচ্ছে। ওকে, অনেকের ক্ষেত্রে হয়তো এটা ইফেক্টিভ হয়, কিন্তু গ্রামার ট্রান্সলেশন মেথডের পরে একটা মেথডের প্রয়োজন ছিল। সবাই চাচ্ছিল যে একটা মেথড আমরা চাই নতুন, সেটা হলো ডিরেক্ট মেথড, অ্যান্ড দ্যাট মেথড ইনিশিয়েটেড মনোলিঙ্গুয়াল সেকেন্ড ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ টিচিং মেথড। According to Frank, a language could be the best taught by using it actively in the classroom, and rather than using analytical procedures that focus on explanation of grammar rules in the classroom teaching. So no classroom will be grammar will be taught. Okay, subject verb agreement. Okay, so idioms, mistakes like that, correction of verbs like that. Teacher must encourage direct and spontaneous use of the language in the classroom. We feel shy sometimes, we can't speak in the target language. Why? Because we feel shy. That means if I make a mistake, what other student will think and say? মানুষ কি চিন্তা করবে, এটা নিয়েই আমাদের চিন্তার শেষ নেই। মানুষ কি বলবে, এটা নিয়ে আমার চিন্তার শেষ নেই। এবং পাছে লোকে কি বলে, কিছু বলে, এই চিন্তা করতে করতেই আমরা ক্লাসরুমে হচ্ছে কথা বলি না। কি কোন ভাষায়? টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে। বাট in direct language, in direct method, teacher will encourage you to speak in the classroom, whatever may be the situation. You may mistakes, it's very natural that you will be making mistakes. আমি ভুল করি না, অনেকে একজন আরেকজন ভাষা শিখতে গিয়ে আলবার্ট আইনস্টাইনও ভুল করবেন। ঠিক আছে, আপনি তো আমি তো আমি, ঠিক আছে। So teacher will encourage students to use the target language, whatever may be the case. That we do in the CLT classroom, that communication will be there. No way you will feel shy. Okay, communication will be there. Language learning would then be able to induce the less roles of grammar. The teacher replace the textbook in the early stages of the learning. Speaking begin with the systematic attention to pronunciation. And of course, speaking and pronunciation. Okay, you can speak. There is a difference between English and Banglish, is it? Banglish means একটা সেন্টেন্সের মধ্যে দুটো ইংরেজি ঢুকে দেওয়া। হ্যাঁ, ইউনো, এরকম করে যেই স্মার্টনেস আমরা শো করি, হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু যেই ইংরেজিটা বলছি সেটার উচ্চারণটাও হতে হবে অ্যাকর্ডিং টু দ্য ডিরেক্ট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ। দ্যাট শুড বি quite exactly, the pronunciation of you and me will not be quite similar to the British people, will not be quite similar to the English people, that means American people, but you have to go close to the pronunciation. Okay, and restaurant যদি বলেন হয়তো ওরা এটাকে একটু অন্যভাবে উচ্চারণ করে। প্রসিডিউর যদি বলে একটু অন্যভাবে উচ্চারণ করে। তো we will be trying, in case of direct method, speaking will be there, but you have to speak the near standard form of the pronunciation of the target language. Okay, known words could be used to teach new vocabulary using mime, demonstration and the pictures. Okay, so that would be used. The natural language learning principles provided the foundation for what came to be known as the direct method, that is called DM, which refers to the most widely known in the natural method. Enthusiastic supporters of direct method introduced in France and Germany. So after getting the initiation of the direct method, people in France and Germany, they started using direct method in their classroom. Okay, and direct method became widely known in the USA, though through its use by Suge and Maximilian Barlich. Okay, so Lambert Suge and another American linguist, Maximilian Barlich, in successful commercial language school. Barlich actually, Lambert Suge, after Lambert Suge, Barlich also initiated by school in America. But Barlich didn't want his that is the direct method. He said, this is Barlich's method, according to his own way. তার নিজের নামে তাহলে আমেরিকাতে ল্যাম্বার্ট সুগে এবং ম্যাক্সিমিলিয়ান বার্লিস তারা দুজনই এই ডিরেক্ট মেথড ফলো করা শুরু করেছিল। ফ্রেঞ্চ জার্মানিতে শুরু হয়েছিল। ওকে, কারণ বার্লিস কিন্তু একটা নাম দিল হচ্ছে বার্লিস, উনি বললেন না যে কখনো ন্যাচারাল মেথড অথবা ডিরেক্ট মেথড। So this is the thing happening to direct method. And that is Maximilian Barlich, okay, was a linguist and the founder of Barlich Language School. The first of which he established in 1878 in the Providence, Rhode Island, that is United States. So these are the principle exactly. The direct method should be following principle and procedures. Classroom instruction was conducted inclusively in the target language. Only everyday vocabulary and sentences were taught. Okay, mobile ta onar hate da. Mobile da. We failed. And only everyday vocabulary and sentences were taught. Everyday vocabulary and sentences were taught. Oral communication skill were built up in a carefully graded progression organized around question answer exchange between teachers, students in small and intensive classes. So classroom will be small and interaction will be there between teachers and students and the small group. Okay, most probably two in peer group. Okay, so that in a 4 groups what will be happening? If in a group there will be 4 members, someone will speak and someone will not speak. But if there is a peer, everyone will involve with each other and the classroom will be, যদি 80 জন ক্লাসে থাকে তাহলে 40টা পেয়ার করতে হবে এবং 40 জনই যদি এরকম উচ্চস্বরে কথা বলে তাহলে সেটা তো আর ক্লাসরুম থাকবে না, দ্যাট উড বি আ ডিফারেন্ট প্লেস। এজন্য ক্লাসরুমটা কি হবে? ছোট, হয়তো বা 20 হলে কি হলো, একটা বড় ক্লাসরুম হবে, ওভার সাইজ হবে। সেক্ষেত্রে হচ্ছে তারা এই 20 স্টুডেন্টস 10টা পেয়ার হবে এবং তারা একে অপরের সাথে কথা বলবে। Okay, grammar was taught indirectly grammar will be taught, not directly. New teaching points were introduced orally. Okay, আমরা যেমন আজকে ক্লাসের শুরুতে বলছিলাম টুডে উই গোইং টু টিচ ডিরেক্ট মেথড। ওকে, এখানে হয়তো কোনো হ্যান্ড আউট বা কোনো কিছু না দিয়ে ওরালি টিচার বলবেন যে আমরা এটা শিখতে যাচ্ছি। এটা কি শিখতে যাচ্ছি? যে হাউ টু টক টু ইচ আদার, হাউ টু টক টু অ্যান আননোন পারসন, এরকম ওরালি। Concrete vocabulary was taught through demonstration, objects and pictures. Abstract vocabulary was taught by association of the ideas. Both speech and listening comprehension were taught. Correct pronunciation and the grammar were emphasized. That we have said, that correct pronunciation. So why we should use the correct pronunciation? It indicates that if you speak in the target language, but if the pronunciation is not correct, you can't convey meaning to others. হয়তো আমাকে বোঝাতে পারছেন, কিন্তু যখন আপনি একজন ইংলিশম্যান, ব্রিটিশ কার সাথে কথা বলবেন, তখন হয়তো আপনি বলছেন ইংরেজি, আমি বুঝতে পারছি, কিন্তু ওই যিনি নেটিভ স্পিকার্স উনি হয়তো বুঝতে পারছেন। এটা কেন হচ্ছে না? যে আপনার প্রনাউন্সিয়েশনটা হয়তো কাছাকাছি হচ্ছে না। ওকে, অ্যান্ড ফর দিস রিজন ডিরেক্ট মেথড ইনিশিয়েটেড কারেক্ট প্রনাউন্সিয়েশন। ওকে, সো নেভার ট্রান্সলেট, ডেমনস্ট্রেট মানে কি? কোনো কিছু উপস্থাপন করা। নেভার এক্সপ্লেইন, অ্যাক্ট। নেভার মেক আ স্পিচ, আস্ক কোয়েশ্চন। Never imitate mistakes, correct. Use sentences, never speak with single word, no, yes, no, very good. You have to use full sentence. Never speak too much, make a student speak much. Teacher will show you some way and student will talk, will speak. much on different issues that would be initiated orally at the beginning of the class. সেদিন হয়তো আজকে বললো যে আজকে আমরা সবাই কথা বলবো যে কিভাবে ভুল থেকে শিক্ষা নেওয়া যায়। আপনার জীবনে এরকম কোনো ঘটনা কি ঘটেছিল যে আপনি একটা ভুল করেছেন এবং সেখান থেকে আপনি একটা শিক্ষা নেবেন? তাহলে এটা আমরা ওরালি বললাম এবং এটার পরে সবাই সেটা বলবে আর কি। ওকে, never use book, use your lesson plan. In case of grammar translation method, textbook were there, but direct method, no book, lesson plan. What you will teach, that would be done by the teachers. That is the lesson plan. Never jump up around, follow your plan. What you will do? There should be a plan. In case of syllabus design or in case of plan, there should be the easiest, then easier, then toughest. In such a way you have to go. আপনি প্রথমেই এমন একটা টপিক নিয়ে শুরু করলেন যেটা স্টুডেন্টরা একদম ভয় পেয়ে গেল, এরকম করা যাবে না। নেভার জাম্প আপ। হয়তো আজকের দিনে একটা সহজ টপিক, কালকে আবার অনেক বড় একটা টপিক শুরু করলেন যেটা অনেক বড় কঠিন। নো, in case of direct method, follow your plan. Easier, easiest, easier, then gradually toughest one. And keep the pace of the student. What you will do? Suppose আপনি নিজে বুঝেছেন, গড় করে সব বুঝে বলে দিলেন, স্টুডেন্ট বুঝলো কি বুঝলো না সেটার দিকে লক্ষ্য রাখলেন না। ইন কেস অফ ডিরেক্ট মেথড, নো, ইউ হ্যাভ টু ফলো দ্য স্টুডেন্টস পেস। স্টুডেন্টরা যেভাবে বোঝে, যত স্লোলি বুঝলে বুঝবে এবং যেভাবে বললে বুঝবে, সেইটা ফলো করতে বলা হচ্ছে কাতে, এই ডিরেক্ট মেথড। স্পিক নর্মালি, স্পিক ন্যাচারালি, নেভার স্পিক টু স্লোলি। খুব আস্তেও বলা যাবে না, খুব দ্রুতও বলা যাবে না, আবার খুব শব্দ করেও বলা যাবে না। হ্যাঁ, কি বলতে হবে? স্পিক ন্যাচারালি। হ্যাঁ, ইন দ্যাট কেস মাই থিঙ্কিং ইজ দ্যাট you have to speak in such a way so that the last benchers can hear you clearly. That would be the speed of your speaking. Take it easy. Never be impassioned. Oh, you can't do this. No? Not like that. Take it easy. So direct method was quite successful in the private language school where native speaking teachers were available. Okay. ওকে, নেটিভ স্পিকার্স, আমি যতই বাংলা বলি না, ইংরেজি বলি না কেন, নেটিভ স্পিকারের মতো তো আমি বলতে পারবো না। ওকে, সো ইন ডিরেক্ট মেথড রিকোয়ার্স দ্য স্পন্টেনিয়াস স্পিকিং বাই আ নেটিভ স্পিকার্স। সো ইয়া, দ্যাট মিনস অ্যান্ড দ্য নেটিভ স্পিকার্স দে ক্যান ফলো ইউর পেস। নেটিভ স্পিকার আসবেই, কিন্তু উনি উনার মতো করে গড় করে বলে যাবে তা না। He will follow your pace. That means what you will do. Okay. So native speaker teacher is must in case of direct method. But it was not welcomed by public school, secondary school education. Private school, they take much tuition fees, and for this reason, it is affordable by the private school to invite a native teachers, speaking teachers. But for the public school, it is not necessary. So when the direct method was initiated, then it was invited by the private school, not by the public school. It overemphasized and distorted the similarities between naturalistic first language learning and classroom foreign language learning, as well as it failed to consider the practical realities of the classroom. That means actually that initiated direct method initiated some principles, and we are supposed to follow, because after grammar translation method আমাদের একটা মেথডই আসলো। গ্রামার ট্রান্সলেশন মেথডের পরে আমরা একটা মেথড পেলাম কি, ডিরেক্ট মেথড। কিন্তু সেই ডিরেক্ট মেথড যতগুলো রুলস অ্যান্ড রেগুলেশন দিল, সবগুলোই আমরা সব জায়গায় কি করতে পারছি না, ফলো করতে। সিম্পলি দ্যাট মিনস উই হ্যাভ টু ফলো দ্য চিলড্রেন। বাট হাউ? উই হ্যাভ টু হায়ার নেটিভ স্পিকার টিচার। Is it not possible? Okay, so that several questions raised in case of grammar translation. It lacked a rigorous basis in applied linguistics theory. For this reason, mention above direct method was criticized by the language expert of reform movement. Okay, So the language movement, they said that yes, we wanted to change GTM. It doesn't mean that we are getting a direct method, new method that is a direct method, but that method can't fulfill all our desires. Who said? Linguistics, having all these characteristics. So this method will have some drawbacks, challenges. It requires native speakers, teachers. One of the drawbacks, that would not always be possible to have native speakers, teacher. It was largely dependent on the teacher's skill. Okay, how you will teach and which topic you will teach. Okay, so the person who has been teaching for several years, they can be successful in direct method. Okay, so this is one of the problems. A successful teacher to teach foreign language is a challenge in direct method. If you get that good, if you do not get, but in maximum cases, the persons or the school they are not getting the efficient teachers. It was largely dependent on the teacher's school. All teachers might not be proficient enough in foreign language. Okay, you are getting a teacher, but all the teachers will not be efficient. Nowadays, lots of people, at least 1/2 of the world population and multilingual as this time. Okay, at present, 2/3 of the total population they are multilingual. So in that case, in case of direct method, all teachers will not be efficient in the target language. That is another drawback in direct method. Strict application of the direct method becomes counterproductive. Okay. সব সময় ইংরেজি বলা এটা অনেক সময় হিতে বিপরীত হতে পারে। আমরা ইংরেজি বলছি, মাঝে মাঝে দুই একটা ইংরেজি বাংলা বলছি কেন? To make it easy. But direct method no. You in no way you can be using your first language. Since teachers were required to describe avoiding native language, sometimes a brief explanation in the student's native language would have been a more complex to comprehend. কোনো একটা সাধারণ জিনিস, তেলাপোকা এবং মাছি, এই দুটোর ডিফারেন্স কি? এটা যদি টিচার ক্লাসরুমে পড়াতে চায়, দুটোরই 6টা করে পা আছে, দুটোরই ডানা আছে, তেলাপোকারও ডানা আছে, কিন্তু কোনোভাবেই উনি বলতে পারবেন না যে এটা তেলাপোকা আর এটা মাছি, তাকে ইংরেজিতেই বোঝাতে হবে। তাহলে এটা কি হয়ে যায়? ইট উড বি টাফ। কিন্তু যদি সিম্পলি বলে দেওয়া হয় যে এটা একটা ককরোচ অ্যান্ড দিস ইজ ফ্লাইস অ্যান্ড দিস ইজ ফায়ার ফ্লাইস, আরও একটা যুক্ত করলাম জোনাকি, তাহলে কি? সো দ্যাট ইজ সামটাইমস ইট বিকামস কাউন্টার প্রোডাক্টিভ ইফ টিচার্স অ্যান্ড দ্য স্টুডেন্টস ইন নো ওয়ে উইল বি এবল টু স্পিক দ্য নেটিভ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ। So this is another problem. The Harvard psychologist Roger Brown has documented a similar problem by observing a teacher performing verbal gymnastics. এরকমই হয়তো কোনো টিচার ককরোচ এবং ফ্লাইস এই দুটোর মধ্যে পার্থক্য বোঝাতে চাচ্ছে। এই দুটোর পার্থক্য বোঝাতে গিয়ে কোনোভাবেই তো উনি বাংলা ব্যবহার করতে পারেন না। এটা লক্ষ্য করেছেন হার্ভার্ড সাইকোলজিস্ট, যে ওনার নাম রোজার ব্রাউন, বলছে যে টিচার আসলে ক্লাসের মধ্যে মনে হচ্ছে জিমন্যাস্টিক্স করছে, মানে কোনো একটা জিনিস বোঝাতে গিয়ে। হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু যদি সে জাপানিজ ভাষায় সেটা বলে দিত বা ফার্স্ট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে বলে দিত তাহলে এটা অনেক সময় ইজি হতো। সো দ্যাট উড বি সামটাইমস টাইম কনজিউমিং। So that is the direct method in details. Okay, by the 19th direct method non-commercial school they have started their teaching. Okay, major schools. Okay, in 1920s and 1930s applied linguistics systematized the principles proposed by Montaigne and other persons. Okay, so we can conclude that in such a way the direct method is focus on oral practice. In teaching vocabulary with such words, idioms, and this method is good. There is a direct relation between thought and expression that you will not be using your first language. It helps learners in having good fluency. So if you use direct method in your classroom, teacher will, students and the learners will get the fluency very quickly. Because no way you will be able to use your mother tongue. অনেক সময় ভাইয়া বোর্ডে কেউ বলে না স্যার একটু বাংলায় বলি, no, এরকম ভাইবার মতো যদি ক্লাসরুমে বলা যায় যে নো, আপনি যাই বলবেন না কেন সেটা কি ইংরেজিতে বলবেন, তাহলে এটা ফ্লুয়েন্সিটা তাড়াতাড়ি বাড়ে। In this method, the teacher proceeds from particular to general, from concrete to abstract. So they will be following. Okay, and they ignore systematic written work and reading activities. There is also challenges. In case of grammar translation method, they put focus in reading and writing. Contrary to grammar translation method, we have got another reform method, that is the direct method. It puts focus on speaking and listening. So direct method কি কোন দুটো ফোকাস করা হচ্ছে, স্পিকিং এবং লিসেনিং, কিন্তু পাশাপাশি কোন দুটো জিনিসের উপরে গুরুত্ব দেওয়া হচ্ছে না, রিডিং অ্যান্ড রাইটিং. So may not hold well in higher level classes where the translation method may be more suitable. Okay, so direct method will be following for the students or for the learners who want to go America or want to go Singapore for traveling for physical treatment. কিন্তু যারা হায়ার স্টাডিজের জন্য যাবে তাদের কি করতে হবে, তাদের তো লিখতে হবে, হ্যাঁ লিখতে হবে সময়, এই জন্য রাইট. Yes, and that is the difference between grammar translation method and direct method. Direct method focuses on speaking and listening. Grammar translation method focuses on reading and writing. So direct method cannot fulfill the requirements of all category of learners, though we have got a method after GTM. Supporters only limited vocabulary. It restricts the scope of vocabulary as not with words can be directly associated with their meanings. Okay. So this is, however, the only criticism of the direct method. Perhaps the biggest was the strict adherence to the policy of only using the target language. That can be another drawbacks or challenges of direct method. That all the time you have to use direct method, target language. That is another challenge. And this sometimes involves a huge amount of effort to avoid using it when a translation may have been quicker and more effective. Okay. So we thought that grammar translation method had focus on two skills, and direct method is a reform method, but that also started focusing on two skills, that is speaking and listening. So still we are not getting a method that will help us to teach or learn all component of a language, that is speaking, listening, reading and writing. 4 modules of the language. So to summarize, direct method, also known as the natural method, anti-grammatical method, phonetical method, natural method. It has 4 names, different names, and emphasizes immersion and direct communication, mirroring how children learn their first language. It emerged in the late 19th century as a response to the perceived limitation of the grammar translation method, which focused heavily on grammar rules and translations and root memorization. So that was the grammar translation method. Replacing grammar translation method, direct method came in existence in the second half of 19th century, and that started focusing on oral proficiency, that means speaking and listening. Critics argued that this method taught learners about the language not how to actually speak it. Okay, so in such a way it aims to create an environment that replicates real life language uses, encouraging learner to think, communicate, respond directly in the target language. One of my teacher would say that yes, if you want to learn English, you have to speak in English, you have to write in English, and even you have to dream in English. Can it be possible? Yeah, yes, possible. That means it can, whenever you will always be using the direct method, then that is communicate, respond, think. Dreamer জায়গায় এখানে কি বলা হচ্ছে that you have to think in English. That is the motive of direct method. It prioritizes the development of fluency by immersing students in a language-rich environment where oral communication is the key. And the method is based on the assumption that the learner should experience the new language in the same way they experience their mother tongue. Okay. একটা শিশু যখন জন্মলাভ করে প্রথমে 1 বছর 1.5 বছর থেকে কথা বলা শুরু করে, তখন চারিদিকে সবাই তো কথা বলে। ধরুন কেউ কথা বলতো না কোনো ভাষায়, তাহলে শিশুটা কি ভাষা শিখবে? এখন ওই রকমই একটা এনভায়রনমেন্ট তৈরি করতে বলা হচ্ছে ডিরেক্ট মেথডে। সেটা কি হবে? যে ক্লাসরুমে সবাই কি কথা বলছে? ইংরেজিতে কথা বলছে বা টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে কথা বলছে। যখন সবাই কথা বলছে, তার মানে 2 বছরের শিশু যখন তার সাথে সবাই কথা বলে, ওইটা শুনে শুনে যেমন ওই শিশু শেখে, ঠিক একইভাবে ক্লাসরুমটাকেও কনসিডার করা হয়েছে ডিরেক্ট মেথডে, যে সবাই যখন টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে কথা বলবে, এই ক্লাসরুমটা হয়ে যাবে একটা শিশুর 2-3 বছরের শিশুর পরিবারের মতো। That would help the learners to learn the second language. That is the motive of this method. One of the defining characteristics of direct method is the exclusive use of the target language. Teacher refrain from using the learner's native language and instead rely on the visual aids. Okay. টিচার কথাই বলবেন না, কিন্তু তার সাথে কি করবেন? হয়তো বা একটা মুভি দেখাবেন অথবা ভোকাবুলারিগুলো দেখাবেন, সেগুলো হচ্ছে ইমেজের মাধ্যমে দেখাবেন। ভিজুয়াল এইডস, রিয়েল লাইফ অবজেক্টস। Real life object, that means suppose you have visited a super shop, you want to purchase something. এই সুপার শপের ছবি দেখাবেন, কোথায় কোন জিনিসগুলো আছে সবগুলোই লেখা থাকবে কিভাবে? সেই তাহলে ভিজুয়াল এইডের মাধ্যম দিয়ে এ নিয়েগুলো শেখাবেন। ওকে, জেস্টার টু কনভে মিনিং, ওকে, অ্যাজ আই হ্যাভ সেড, বডি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজের মধ্য দিয়ে তাকে আমি শেখাবেন। This creates an immersive environment where students are constantly exposed to the target language and encouraged to think and communicate in it. So that is this method also prioritizes oral communication, that their constant practice helps learners develop confidence and fluency in speaking the target language. So whenever the students will be using, the learners will be using the target language quite frequently in the classroom, they will be confident. And once they will get the confidence, the mental confidence is the core. Okay. Dr. Muhammad Shahidullah learned 13 languages. The main thing is that he had nothing at that time, no YouTube, no Google, but he had confidence. So whenever the learner will gain confidence, then anything can be possible by a learner. Just like কি জানো সেই টেক জায়েন্টের নাম কি? আমেরিকান মেটার মালিক, হ্যাঁ, মার্ক জাকারবার্গ। হি সেড নেভার গিভ আপ। কোনো সময় হাল ছেড়ে দেওয়া যাবে না। So the direct method, that is the motive, that direct method will try to encourage students or learners confidence. Whenever you will be confident, then not one language, you can learn more than one language, and that is quite frequently if we follow that method, and that is the core in direct method. So direct method has been adopted by International Language School, the Barlis. So we have got several history, that is Francois Guin, Montaigne, okay, Barlis, okay, Frank. So they are the initiator of this method, that is the direct method. They wanted to have a change in language teaching and learning method after grammar translation method, and that they have got a method. That the name of the method is the direct method, That direct method focuses on speaking and listening. And in the classroom, target language will be there. That means meaning will be conveyed in the target language. And by having a class exclusively the target language, learners will gain confidence, and they will start speaking, learning and communicating in the target language by the direct. Though it will have some drawbacks. কেন? কারণ যেদিন নাকি তরকারি ভালো হয় সেদিন নাকি ভাত ভালো হয়। Okay, so that is possible that every method will have some drawbacks. So direct method will have some drawbacks, but we can say that after GTM we had got a method that is direct method. So direct method started the reform movement in English language or the second language teaching and learning. আমরা ইংরেজি বলতেছি, আমাদের ক্ষেত্রে ইংরেজি, কিন্তু অন্য দেশের ক্ষেত্রে অন্য ভাষা হতে পারে। But with the starting of the direct method, we have got a new method after GTM. Okay, now questions. Most probably, have you purchased that books, Research and Readers? Okay, you can also follow this. Okay, any questions? We will have 7 minutes for the discussion. Questions? What are the other 4 names of direct method? Natural method, Phonetical method. Okay. Who are the pioneer of these methods? Francois Guin, Michel D. Monte, Lambert Sauvé, and arekjon Frank, Maximilian Barlich. Okay, they are the and direct method especially focuses on speaking and listening. Why? Because it wants the learners to be communicative. কেন communicative করতে চেয়েছিল? To raise confidence, okay, in the natural way. ক্লাসরুমে টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ ব্যবহার করা যাবে, ডিরেক্ট মেথডে যাবে না। ওকে, Okay, any other questions? Okay, so